Hello, I'm Allison Stankey Boring, and I'm going to tell you some time management tips I've learned from my time in the corporate world. The most important thing is to plan ahead. Usually, you will have a list of tasks that you'll be asked to perform by your supervisor ahead of time, and you'll be able to look at some of these and prioritize. That's very important. Prioritize. Figure out which task is most important and in which order you should try to do the things inside the tasks. For instance, I recently planned a large event for many physicians at my office, and I had several tasks which I had to do within that project, and I had to decide which ones were the most important. Planning the budget, deciding who would be on the advisory committees, things like that. Secondly, make a list. Extremely important. If you have things in front of you that show you what you have to do, that helps you to decide how to prioritize. And if you need to delegate, sometimes delegation is extremely important. We have a department at my company which was tasked to do a huge project by my department. And the supervisor of the second department tasked everything to me, which was not what my director wanted. He wanted her department to do her part and for me to do my part. It didn't work out that way. But she did use delegation. However, she should have used it within her department. Prioritizing MITs, or most important tasks, is a huge deal. Mark Twain said, if it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to eat it first thing in the morning. And if it's your job to eat 2 frogs, then it's best to eat the biggest one first. That is amazing because it really makes sense. Take the biggest task and try to knock that out first. Again, going back to the big conference I had to put together, I wanted to find a venue. I needed to find a catering company, and all of those things had to be done first after we got the budget. And then we were able to work down from there. I took a project management course, and they talked about how you prioritize and you do the big window, the big charts of what you need, and then the little tasks inside of those. Take the time between meetings or parts of your project to just take a breather. Sometimes, and I'm guilty of this, I'll just sit down and focus until I'm done. And that's not always the most productive way to do things because sometimes your brain gets fuzzy, or in my case, sometimes I will drift off and I'll be thinking about, oh, I've got to do such and such with my dog, or oh my gosh, I wonder how my kid's French dinner for his anniversary went. So you start to drift. You have to take breaks in between to clear your head so that you can come back down and focus again. It's very important. An online calendar such as Outlook also helps because then you can plan your day. You may not want to sit down and just focus on a project all at once. You may want to make phone calls in the morning and then do your project after that, and then maybe take a break, a lunch, come back and tackle the project again, and then set up time for meetings with people on your team that may be able to help you knock out your project. Learn to say no. Sometimes you just don't have the time. You're overwrought. You have too many other things on your plate. And taking on more things doesn't necessarily make you more productive or make you look better to the boss. If you take on too many projects and you fail, then that's not going to look good. You want to make sure that you have enough that you can handle and learn how to say no. That's difficult sometimes with bosses because you want to please, especially when you're first starting a new job and trying to prove yourself. But trust me, they're more interested in quality than quantity. Trust me on that. For meetings, which are often necessary for projects or anything you may do in your work, it's if you can do a Zoom meeting, a telecommuting meeting. You don't necessarily have to drive to another location or stop what you're doing at your desk and go upstairs. My company, for instance, has 11 buildings throughout our metroplex. And so it's not always the best idea for somebody to drop everything in Fort Worth and drive to Dallas when they can easily do a web conference or a phone conference and get all the information they need. Sometimes that's best. Focus on the task at hand. Again, I've said this, if your mind starts wandering or you just get tired, take a break. Step back, maybe just do something for yourself. Go get a beverage, go take a walk, do something just to clear your mind. And lastly, I would set time limits on what I do. That's where the Outlook calendar comes in again. Maybe you want to spend 3 hours on this task instead of I'm going to sit here until it's done. That's not always the best. So set time limits for yourself. In the end, school and the corporate world are very different. Each company has its own culture, and you will learn how things work. But if you stick to these basic things, it should help you a lot. Good luck. Bye.